I crossed the Andes Mountains in 2 days and I am terrified. It's winter right now. There was a huge snowstorm. I'm crossing between Chile and Argentina. And I'm really afraid I have to, because the timing, I'm going to have to spend a night up there in the middle of the mountains, which on the other side, on the hindsight, will be such an adventure. But the leading up to it, I'm so scared. Are we going to be able to be warm enough? Is the van going to be okay? This is my first border crossing, and I haven't driven in snow in very, very long time, and I just am so scared. These are the moments I really, really wish I had a dad that I could call and ask questions about how to safely drive in the snow and how to safely brake around ice. I just am being really, really confronted with how scared I am. And I'm just at the beginning of a huge multi-continental adventure in a van. And in this moment, I don't know if I could do it.
Sí. Mi amor, mira, linda. Ah, mira, le va a dar un beso a su hermana también. Sí.
Well, that was our first frozen night. We're in Los Andes, the town 2 hours away from the border of Chile and Argentina, and it got freezing last night. And all the condensation from us breathing on the windows turned to ice, and it was incredibly cold. But we made it. We did good. Our blankets did good. But I'm very anxious because in 2 days we drive up into the Andes Mountains, and because of the timing of when we can get the temporary import permit for the car, we're going to have to spend a night up in the Andes Mountains right after it's had 4 days of snowy, stormy weather. So definitely anxious about that. Anxious about the whole drive up there, but we made it through our first frozen night. So hopefully we'll make it up through that frozen night in the snow in the Andes. These are my buddies. Sweet friend. He's not happy about it. I have been having so much time to think. And I think the reason why I'm so scared for this Andes crossing, and I'm just so terrified right now in my life, just in general, and why I'm so afraid to fail is because I think I'm already a failure. That's why I'm so afraid to do stuff, because I'm already afraid to fail, and I am a failure. It's our last day in Chile for hopefully at least a year. It's been a really emotional day. I don't know if it's where I'm in my healing journey, in my process, if it's the fear of crossing the Andes, if it's how the Andes is making me realize how much I've got a huge fear of failure that limits me from even trying. Hopefully all these little videos will turn into a YouTube video someday, but I'm terrified of even trying. But I found a swing, so maybe doing a little swinging will help. Oh my god. Okay, here we go. I'm all ready. We're doing it. We're starting the drive. We're going into the Andes. We're going into the Andes. We're gonna spend the night there tonight. Is this a red light? Yeah. Woo! I've been very scared for the last few days, but today I feel like I can do this. Today I feel like I'm gonna make this mountain my lady. Wish me luck. Get over the pass, and turns out I'm crawling. I'm not even going 10 miles an hour. Probably need to shift in first gear because I'm just crawling behind all of these semis. I thought I would be very slow coming up here, and I thought that this would be very difficult, but the hardest part so far is going slow enough to follow these semis but not having my manual die because I'm crawling up the side of the Andes. I don't understand. I'm not even going 5 miles an hour. I don't understand how these semi trucks have to go so slow. It doesn't make any sense. The most dangerous part about this is having to go so slow while on an incline and trying really hard not to have the car stall. So frustrating. So I got to the Argentina border, that went all fine, but they told me that my paper break for my van only lasts until September 11th, only a few more weeks. What I was supposed to do, the company that I hired, Susan Santiago, who never told me this, who I just messaged with, sent them all my paperwork, made sure I was totally fine. They said I'd be fine to drive all the way to the United States if I wanted to. So they never told me, but I have to physically go into the registration office to get the title in my name. They don't just do that online and then send me the title when it's correct, which is what I was told. I have to physically go in and get the title in my name. So now I'm driving all the way back down tonight, 2 more hours back down tonight to try to get the right title so that my van and me could actually move around. I'm so frustrated. The Argentinian border was easy, quick, easy, very friendly. I'm the only person here at like 8 o'clock at night at the Chilean border. Been here for almost an hour. They've checked a bunch of stuff, but now I don't know what's going on. It's just a bunch of workers talking and hanging out, but they say I can't leave yet, but I don't know. Just nervous to cross one border, and I'm crossing 2 borders in one day. I really hope I can get out of here soon. I'm really nervous to have to drive back through the Andes at night, hopefully missing freezing temperatures, so that I can hopefully work on getting the right paperwork to be able to cross back into Argentina. Well, we made it back to the same exact town that we left at after realizing that we wouldn't be able to actually get into Argentina with the van. So now I'm about to go to the civil registration office and hopefully be able to start the process to getting the title in my name, which I was told by the company I hired that the title's already in my name, that this process has already been done, but turns out it hasn't. So hopefully we can get the civil registration office to be in the process of getting the title in my name. Hopefully. Got off the phone with Susie Santiago, the company that I hired to do all my paperwork to make the van legally my name. And he yelled at me for quite a long time, and he spoke over me and he wouldn't listen. And he's telling me that what the police told me is incorrect, that he's right. The police are incorrect, that they can't confiscate my vehicle, that the authorization, the time limit doesn't matter, that the police is incorrect. So I begged him and begged him and begged him to please just call the notary, see what's going on. I just went to another notary and had them call my notary and asked what was going on. She said there's a problem with the paperwork. So I had to beg and beg and beg for the company I hired to do this, to call them and to see what's going on. Never, ever, ever hire Susie Santiago for anything. So I'm sitting here and editing this, and it's, weeks have passed since my time on the Andes Mountain. And I've had a lot of reflection and perspective of what the lesson of that moment was. And, the days and week leading up to this big crossing, I had created this story in my head, this narrative in my head about what it was going to be, about how dangerous it was going to be, and all of these fears, would my vehicle make it? What about the snow? Could I drive on the ice? If, I just created this narrative of my head that was so fearful. And it was almost debilitating. And I do that a lot with things. I create the story and the suffering of the thing before I actually do the thing. Just like editing this YouTube video, just like starting this YouTube channel. I've created this huge, massive story in my head about how I'm insignificant and how I'm not prepared and how it's too big for me, you know? And then I actually get in the moment. I get in the actual driving up the Andes Mountain, or I get in the actual editing process for this YouTube video. And way more often than not, I discover that the suffering was just the story I told myself. That the actual doing it was easy. May I even say pleasurable. Editing this video has been really kind of fun. Driving up the mountain was really kind of nice. I wish I didn't have to drive back in the same day, but so it's a really good reminder for me that so often I'm creating my own suffering by the stories that I tell myself, by how small I make myself seem to the world and the things that I think are problems, and how really that's a choice. I don't have to choose to do that. And I'm grateful for this Andes Mountain lesson because it's just a reminder to like check in. Am I having these big fears? How much is proportionate to actually, there are risks. There are definitely risks to going up the Andes Mountains. There's risks to starting a YouTube channel. I'm sure I'm going to hear horrible, disgusting, hateful things at some point, you know? But are the risks and the fear, is it as big as I'm creating it in my head? Am I as small as I'm creating myself in my head to be? Or can I face these challenges? Can I face these things I'm nervous or worried or scared about? And can I overcome them? And I'm going to go out on a limb for myself and say, absolutely I can. 100% of the time. I am big enough. I am great enough. I am smart enough and strong enough that I could overcome these challenges and these things in life and that this journey, that this trip is going to bring to me. So I don't know. I'm sure some of that's relatable to your life too, that you know, probably do create a bit of your own suffering. And when you actually get into the thing that you're trying to do, it turns out that it's not as bad as you made it out to be. So, oh my gosh, thanks so much for watching my very first YouTube channel, YouTube video. I really want to start putting them out on like a schedule. My hope and my goal is to be twice a week putting out videos. But I'm going to give myself a little bit of grace to get into that. But, you know, and I'm sure I'll make a video talking about all this stuff at some point too. Part of my big desire for this channel is that I have a traumatic brain injury from an incident that happened 5 years ago. And I forget a lot of my life. My friend died next to me in the same incident that I, by some miracle, survived. And I live my life with a lot of like honor and a feel of responsibility to live my life as authentic and as big and as bold and as beautiful as I dream it to be, to honor Summer and to give them a really beautiful movie of my life to watch. And so that's why I want to do this YouTube channel, is that I've been creating a beautiful, beautiful life, and I'm tired of forgetting this beautiful life that I'm creating. And so I'm hoping that the living it and the recording it and the editing it and having it to be able to watch back in the future can help me be able to remember my life a little bit more. And also I have so many friends and supporters and people who have been with me in my life for a long time, or people who have watched me survive and what these last 5 years have been, and beautiful friends I meet along the way that that love me and want to see what I'm doing and what we're up to. And so I hope you liked my first little video. It's gonna get better, but honestly I still have to add the music to this, but honestly I'm pretty proud. I think this is a really good first video, so I hope you like it. Bye.